Tulsi Gabbard is a former member of Congress, a former presidential candidate, and one of the very few people in the world who went on television after this invasion a year ago and said, this could get really dangerous. You were right. And now that China is aligning with Russia and supporting the Russian war effort effectively against us, this seems like a massive turning point.
Well, you heard it from Zelensky himself talking about the consequences of World War III. The thing is, he has made very clear that that's where he thinks we are already, that we are in World War III. Ukraine is the tip of the spear. And this is how he justifies making demands of the United States and all of these NATO countries to equip him with all of the weapons and aircraft and tanks that the United States and NATO have to go and fight this war that we are in against Russia. He is doing everything that he can to bring us and NATO into this war, directly into conflict with Russia. You remember when their Ukrainian missile defense system, unfortunately, had a missile that went into Poland and killed 2 civilians on a farm. What did Zelensky say? His very first thing, first person on camera saying, hey, this is a direct attack against a NATO ally. U.S. and NATO, you must go and attack Russia. The scary thing to me, Tucker, is to hear people like Zelensky, to hear Democrats and Republicans in the United States Congress and Biden administration officials speak so calmly and with a straight face about World War III. Exactly. How would it be won? How would we respond to the use of tactical nuclear weapons? What are our options in this battlefield? Forgetting what Ronald Reagan said when he said a nuclear war cannot be won and therefore should never be fought. This World War III, this path that we are on, unless we change course, it will result in nuclear war. You've all of the nuclear armed countries in the world on this path towards a head-on collision.
May I just ask you a really quick question? So Zelensky, who I think this country has borne with great patience, actually, for the last year, has repeatedly said, I've got a border dispute with my neighbor, Russia. You live thousands of miles away. You're not connected. But because of that border dispute and their invasion of the eastern half of my country, your whole family could die, and I'm okay with that. Yeah. Why aren't Americans rising up as one and saying, you're suggesting it's okay that my family dies? No, it's not okay. Off the stage. Like, why are we putting up with this, honestly?
You know, you look at the lies that the American people are being told by President Biden, by Mitch McConnell, by these warmongers in both parties, selling this lie that this is about defending freedom and democracy. And as he said, there's no greater threat to that democracy than this fight against, this war against Russia. They are the ones who are undermining our democracy. They are the ones who are denying the American people our constitutional right to have a say whether or not we go to war or not. It is an affront to the Constitution and every single American, and we should all be raising hell about this because it is our future, the future of the world, that's at stake.
I agree. I mean, how much weed are people smoking? This is a real issue. This is not one of the fake issues, that we...
There is no more real issue than this.
Oh, I agree. Tulsi Gabbard, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks, Tucker.
Subscribe to the Fox News YouTube channel to catch our nightly opens, stories that are changing the world and changing your life. From Tucker Carlson tonight.
Now to Turkey, reeling this morning from another deadly earthquake, just 2 weeks after the massive quake that killed tens of thousands. Marcus Moore joins us with the latest. Good morning, Marcus.
Michael, good morning. It's just a sad update. Another blow for families already enduring the aftermath of a catastrophic string of earthquakes sent running for safety once again last night. And there have been more than 90 aftershocks following this new earthquake. Overnight, search and rescue teams in Turkey and Syria surveying the damage, searching through rubble using flashlights, looking for anyone who may still be trapped after another powerful earthquake struck the region. The 6.3 magnitude quake coming just 2 weeks after tens of thousands died in the region in a pair of catastrophic earthquakes. Families seen hugging and sleeping in open streets overnight, fearing their apartment buildings could collapse. Dash camera video capturing the moment the earthquake began to strike, violently shaking the ground around 8 p.m. local time Monday, plunging neighborhoods into darkness and sending dust from collapsed buildings into the air. Chaos at the airport as the quake shook the building, people scrambling, running to duck and cover. This local politician running for shelter as the ground starts to move mid-interview, panic on the ground among residents still reeling from the horrors of the last 2 weeks.
And we are hearing of more devastation in Syria. The White Helmets volunteer group says more than 130 people were injured there. Some of them hurt running for safety, others after jumping from high areas. And Robin, this could not have come at a worse time. There are already millions of people left homeless from that string of earthquakes early in February. And now this.
And now this. Marcus, thank you.
The massive missile is a menacing sight moving into place at Pyongyang's airport. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un gave the order just hours ahead of Saturday's surprise launch, state media says. This intercontinental ballistic missile, a Hwasong-15, hitting hypersonic speeds, hurtling high above the Earth, barreling back down to Japan's territorial waters about 67 minutes later. Saturday's missile, one of many on display just last week, a record number of ICBMs, more than any military parade in North Korean history. Kim ordered mass production of ICBMs earlier this year, the parade featuring new missiles and a new face, Kim Ju-ae, Kim's daughter, believed to be just 9 years old. She began appearing on state media 3 months ago, fueling speculation she's being groomed as the next North Korean leader.
So, given the fact that Kim Jong-un chose to introduce his daughter on the day of his previous ICBM launch, what do you make of the timing and symbolism of that?
I think it demonstrates that she's being groomed as the next leader. And that, to me, suggests there could be something behind the scenes, maybe a health problem with Kim Jong-un that is accelerating a need to do this now rather than years later when she's a bit older.
Kim's daughter, now a fixture on state media, sitting with her father at a weekend soccer match, posing together for a postage stamp, dad, daughter, and the family arsenal. 2 smaller missiles fired Monday, a test of tactical nuclear weapons, state TV says. The bellicose broadcast came with a warning from Kim's younger sister, Kim Yo-jong, saying the frequency of using the Pacific Ocean as our shooting range depends on the nature of the U.S. military's actions. She's referring to upcoming military drills on the Korean Peninsula. The U.S., South Korea, and Japan responding to the ICBM launch with joint air exercises over the weekend, fueling fears of further escalation.
If North Korea conducts the 7th nuclear test, which could happen at any time, it will be a game changer in a sense that North Korea could develop and deploy tactical nuclear missiles.
A growing arsenal, some say, has one purpose: preserving the power of the ruling Kim family for generations to come.
Fox News host Tucker Carlson says House Speaker Kevin McCarthy gave him unfettered and exclusive access to about 44,000 hours of Capitol Hill surveillance footage from the day of the January 6 riot. Lawmakers are reacting. One of McCarthy's strongest allies, Congressmember Marjorie Taylor Greene, tweeted Americans deserve to see the truth, not a one-sided narrative and unfair two-tier justice system. January 6 committee member Adam Smith suggested McCarthy's decision was less about transparency and more about fueling conspiracy theories. And former chair of that committee, Benny Thompson, issued a lengthy statement and a warning about what could come, saying, quote, "It's hard to overstate the potential security risks if this material were to be used irresponsibly." Joining me now is NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ali Vitale. It's not like he just gave anybody this material. He gave it to Tucker Carlson, who did that whole special that was misleading about the January 6th insurrection. And misleading is putting it mildly.
Yeah, and who has consistently downplayed what happened here, even after we saw throughout the entire summer, fall, and part of the winter, the findings in granular detail of the January 6th Select Committee. And so it makes sense that those members and former members are now speaking out about McCarthy's decision to give these tens of thousands of hours of footage to Tucker Carlson. But there's also a question of the security implications of this. The January 6th Committee, for example, and Benny Thompson alludes to this in in his statement, were very careful about the chain of custody, who was able to access this. They limited the number of people who had actual eyes that could be put on this footage. And when they did actually show footage from the Capitol Police during those January 6th hearings, they gave the Capitol Police a heads up about it. It was done sort of in concert so that security concerns were assuaged and at least that everyone was looped in. That's now what Leader Jeffries is referring to in a letter to his colleagues. He is furious about this, as are multiple other Democratic members. I'll read to you just one of the key parts from this Jeffries letter to his colleagues that we obtained earlier today, where he says that this is an egregious security breach on the part of McCarthy by giving over this footage, and that it endangers the hardworking women and men of the U.S. Capitol Police. Now, the Capitol Police, for their part, the head of that, Chief Manger, saying when congressional leadership or congressional oversight committees ask for things like this, we have to give it to them. They're not able to say much more than that, but one source is telling my colleague Haley Talbot and I that in this instance, they didn't give it directly to TuckerCarlson's show. They were asked for it by Congress and complied with that request. Clearly, then, there has to be a middle person, in this case, Speaker McCarthy's office, who gave Carlson's show that footage, and it sounds like we'll hear in a few days what they end up doing with it.